This is a video on how to make this square keepsake box. So we have the box and the lid. The lid is one square larger the whole way around, one hole, so that it will fit nicely on the box. And it fits really nice. It will come off eventually, but it doesn't come off easily. So today I'm going to demonstrate how to construct one. So we have two parts. We have the box and then we have the lid. So today I'm going to do some of the finishing steps. So for the box, there are 5 panels. They're all the same size. They're all going to be 4 blocks of 4 squares of color. So for this design, I did stripes. This one, of course, is the checkerboard. So you'll go diagonally, and this one you'll work across. And if you've bought a kit from me, the yarn you will receive, it's all doing 2 at a time, which is very convenient. So for the lid, like I said, it's an extra hole all the way around. So we added a border row of stitches around the top part, and then we have a border row on the sides of the lid sides. So I want to demonstrate doing that today. And when you attach these, you want to make sure that the little part, meaning this small stitch, is in the corner, so that you're not attaching it like this. You're attaching it like this, so that the small stitches are in the top corners. Okay, so to add the border row, we're going to start right here. And this will be on the diagram, but I make sure that all the stitches are going the same direction, meaning we're going top left to bottom right, the same as we did on this side. So what I'm doing here is just stitching over the tail. And then going along the back. I typically take it behind 3 or 4 stitches, cut off the excess. So now we've added our little border row, and this is ready to be attached. But I'm going to do this one first just to demonstrate a few different ways to do this. Now when I make the tissue box covers, I typically, when I attach, I'll start it by just sliding the thread right through here. But when doing an object like this, where you're going to be looking inside it, I want it to look as neat as possible and feel secure as possible. So what I'm actually going to do, and this is very convenient for putting on these sides, especially at the end, is I'm just going to come right along the seam here, just going through a few of them. And that way the thread is secure and we can start just like this. Now obviously you can't do this if this was the first one, but the first one's very easy. And how I would do that is just stitching over the tail, just like we did right there. But as you attach more sides, and especially when you are doing these ones, it's kind of hard to get down in there and go right over the tail. Okay, so this is the whip stitch. So it is 1 across and then the rest at a diagonal. So we have our 1 across. And I wanted to demonstrate this one because it is probably the most hard to do, just as far as holding on to things. Okay, now we're going to do our stitches all the way down. Now my favorite way to attach things like this is to leave a tail on either end and then tie them in a knot at the end. So I would have a tail here, and I would tie a knot behind this seam. But again, since this is an item that you're going to be able to look inside, I just want it to be as neat as possible. So I'm doing it this way instead. And this is how you'll attach all the sides, same with the lid. Okay, then when we get to the end, you'll do one straight across. And then we're going to go right behind the seam we just created and cut off the excess. Okay. Now I'm going to go down the side. Same thing. I'm going to come up the seam. And it works well because it's a tight seam, so it's not going anywhere. Okay, so straight across, and then on the diagonal all the way down. Now there is a slightly quicker way to do this, where instead of doing two motions where I'm coming up here and going down here, you can do it so that you're just doing one motion, holding it like this and going straight across. And it works well. It's a little quicker. You just have to be careful that you're not clipping the thread on either side. I find it's easier to just clip some of the red. So as long as you're paying attention and are careful, it's a bit quicker. See right there, I almost clipped it. Okay, now we're just finishing up here. And so now we have the box made with all 5 sides attached. And the last part is going to be to do the trim around the top. Now I've included a bunch of longer threads to do the trim here, the trim around the lid, and the extra row, the border row around the lid. Okay, so I'm going to start. You could start at a corner. I kind of like to start in the middle. And since this is, the trim is the same color here, I'm actually going to just slide it right behind. Now, actually I'm going to demonstrate this another way. So assume that this was not this color. So I'll start over here. So what we're going to do is just go right over the tail. So we're going to leave that just like so. And we're going to stitch right over it. And you'll just want to place it as you go so that it's on the side and not sticking out the top. Okay, so once we have it under a few stitches there, I'm just going to pull it more down to the side, cut off the little part there, and now we'll continue around the whole top. And when we get to the corner, I like to add an extra stitch on each side just to cover the little plastic corners. I had thought about doing a box years ago, but I knew it would be unfinished inside and I didn't think I would like that, but one of my best customers asked me to make one and I don't mind it at all. I think it looks nice. It's not supposed to be a mass-produced looking product, so the fact that it looks unfinished I think is a good thing. Okay, so we've come to the corner here. We're going to do one extra one. Then we're going to go right into the other corner. And you kind of have to place these. So I'm going to move this with my finger so that we get right over the corner so you don't see the plastic. Okay, I'm going to do one more here. See, that covered both sides pretty well. And then we're going to go down the line. And I'll demonstrate again at the last corner. Okay, we're coming to the last corner. So I'd like to demonstrate again. We're putting an extra stitch through the rightmost corner of the left side, and then going to the leftmost corner of the right side. Adding a second stitch in that same first hole. You can see the plastic a little bit. Just going to take my finger and pull it over just to cover that. Okay, and onward we go. And when we get to the end here, we're going to go right back through that starting thread that we did. So the last stitch is going to come right over there. We're going to go right down through that seam. And again, you just want to make sure it's on the back and not the top or the front. Okay, cut off the excess. Now we have our trim done, so the box part is finished. And now we just need to finish the lid. I intended this to be rainbow, but it kind of gives me Kodak. Makes me want to play Uno, all kinds of things. Okay, so we're going to attach this the same way. Everything is the same. You're attaching it the same, the sides are the same, the trim is the same, everything is identical. So again, the main thing, it's easy with this one because you obviously want the red with the red, but you just want to make sure that you're attaching so that the little square is in the corner, so that the squares basically all alternate. And it especially matters for like the checkerboard where you want the corner all to be the same. When I first started making these, I wanted the corners to alternate. So this would be pink and this would be ivory, but then you'd have this be one of the two. So I decided they all had to be the same. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, coming down the seam. Up through the top corner. I'm doing a straight across and then add a diagonal. And there's a slightly quicker way to do this too. So if you fold it back, and then you can just do one motion. But again, you just want to be careful that you're not clipping the thread on either side. And you can feel it when you do it. Sometimes you can hear it. And the other thing you need to watch out for when you're making this is that the lid, you leave enough room for the border row. So when you're making the lid, and this is on the instructions, you're not starting in the top corner, you're starting down one and over one, so that there's room afterwards to make that border row, and same with on the sides. I have forgotten multiple times. Okay, finishing with a straight across. Now because I'm right here, I'm just going to go down and do this other side. I could have done that when assembling the box, but I didn't make the thread long enough. But typically what I include in the kits, it is long enough, where you can do two sides at once. Okay, and when you get to the end, we're going to go straight down and straight down the whole corner. Cut off the excess, and then I just take the back of my needle and push that little excess right down in there. Okay, we have one more part to do. Down through the back. Okay, and then the only thing left to do is to trim the bottom of the lid, which I'm not going to demonstrate because I just demonstrated it. You can see how nice that goes on and off. If you have any questions, send me an email. Thank you.